Hey everyone, it's Brian from Pinnacle TCI again. So on last week's tip of the week, what we talked about was outdated technology, saving stuff in your file, and making sure that you have it in the future for your investigation. And 20, 30 years from now, someone would have it in their file for the investigation if that case was to go unsolved. Talk about outdated technology, how CDs are outdated now, thumb drives might be outdated in the future, and in my case, tape recorders, cassette tapes. So this week we're going to go in a little different direction. So if you've been to our 3-day Conversations to Confessions course, or if maybe you haven't been, but you'll get to go in the future, hopefully, we have an acronym that we go over that gives you a little bit of a structure to your interview and some things that you want to make sure you focus on when you're doing your interview. One of those things is the U in trust. And we're not going to break down each letter of the acronym right here on this video, but we will cover more in the future. And if you come to the class or have been to the class, you see in the class what the whole thing stands for and how it applies. So the U in trust is understanding. And when we talk about understanding, we talk about understanding what our subject is talking about. And we also talk about us being understood by the subject. If one of us is misunderstanding the other one, it can create for a bad situation where maybe you think you got a confession or you got something incriminating, or maybe you think you have something exculpatory and really you don't because you weren't clear on what they were talking about and maybe the terminology was off. Depending on what kind of crimes you investigate, that could come into play. But this doesn't apply just to your criminal interviews or even your victim interviews or witness interviews. It applies in everyday life as well. And there was no better example of that this past weekend. And this is just a funny story that I'm going to share with you. And I just want to show you that these principles, they apply not just in our interviewing, but in every aspect of life and all of our interactions with people. And if we practice it on a daily basis, with all of our interactions, it makes our interviews at work that much easier to be understood. Now, here's what happened. Friend of mine, a coworker, longtime family friend, getting married this weekend. I had the honor and the privilege of being the wedding officiant. It was awesome. If you ever get a chance to do it, do that. Be that officiant for someone else that you're close to. And so the bride, she did not want any of the men, the groomsmen, the groom, me as the officiant, none of us could wear clips on our tie, like tie clips. And there was the father of the bride and the father of the groom both wanted to wear a tie clip. Well, from weddings, you're there for the bride, right? So both of them wore tie clips, and it was funny because as we're walking up, all of us left it off. These two left their tie clips on. It was described to me by one of the bridesmaids that was present at the time later on that, like an eagle, she was able to scope out that tie clip on her dad's tie from out the window as he was walking into the venue to line up to go down the aisle. So the lady that was running the place, she comes up and she goes to the father of the bride and looks down at his tie and then looks back at him and says, "Do you have a clip-on tie?" He says, "No, I don't have a clip-on tie." And she says, "Promise me you don't have a clip-on tie." And I'm watching this conversation take place, wondering where this is going. And he goes, "I swear to God, I don't have a clip-on tie. I swear." And you could tell by the look on his face, the micro and the macro expressions, my man was serious. He did not have a clip-on tie. He was giving a truthful response. He did not have a clip-on tie. Knowing that we had the previous conversation through text messages with the bride and the bridal party about the tie clips, I realized there was a misunderstanding. And seeing his silver clip on his tie, I walked over and I said, "I think the question that you're meaning to ask is, do you have a clip on your tie?" If someone told you that he's not supposed to have a clip on tie, it was probably a clip on his tie. I think it's a tie clip. So she goes, "Oh." So just that one little instant, and that's exactly what she was supposed to be saying, but she received the information from the bride, right? Then she went and translated that question to somebody else. Now, how does that fit in with law enforcement? We might get information from a witness, from an informant, from a co-defendant, from a victim, and then we interpret something wrong and maybe one little word is off, just like saying clip on tie versus clip on your tie. Something as small as that changes the whole structure of the sentence and becomes a different question. So when she asked the father of the bride the question, she received a truthful answer. He didn't lie. He answered the question that was asked, but it was the wrong question. And so it took me coming in there and clarifying that question and making sure that he understood her and that she understood what she got from the bride. So, and just like an interview, if I pick up on that with my partner, I might have to step in and say, hey, I just want to clarify something here. And maybe I have to make that clarification while we're in the interview room, or maybe stepping out and just saying, hey, we're going to step out for a minute, give you a little bit of a break, and then we'll come back in and talk. Then I go with my partner and I say, hey, I think what you're saying is confusing to them, and maybe ask this a better way or ask a different question. Or when we go back in there, maybe let me restructure that question and ask the right question. Again, the question matters. It determines what answer you're going to get, and what you put in can determine what you get out of it. So again, asking the right questions to get the right answer. As soon as I heard that, I was like, that's going to be the example for the tip this week. So wasn't law enforcement related other than being a law enforcement wedding, but nonetheless, words matter, questions matter. Ask the right question, get the right answer. That's our tip from us here at Pinnacle TCI to use. So don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, and we'll be adding more tips as we go along. Take care, be safe.